Another episode of Beyond the Dispatch. This is the second half of Lori Chapman Longfritz episode where we dive into the funeral, the finally being awarded his Medal of Honor that he rightfully earned, and then the mishap, or not even mishap, but the complications that we've run or she's ran into with the Medal of Honor Museum down in Arlington, Texas.
We're going to really go deep into, I guess not deep, but just everything that's revolved around, Britt Slabinski and Admiral Szymanski and just all the wild stuff, man. This is where the original sin of John Chapman really rears its head, and we get into it. So stay tuned. If you guys haven't listened yet, go back and listen to part 1. We learned about who John Chapman was as a brother and a father and a warrior, and now we're going to get into what the SEALs did to him, really.
Yeah, definitely emotional episode. I get teared up. You're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I was trying to toss you guys tissues at one point, so probably a couple, actually. So enjoy. The following podcast contains real stories and raw conversations from first responders and military personnel. Some topics may be graphic or triggering. The views expressed by the host and the guests are their own and do not represent any agency or organization. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Dispatch. If you guys tuned in last week, or if you haven't, make sure you go back now and check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. It's inspirational, to say the least. We have back in the studio Lori, who needs zero introduction. If you have seen the first episode, it is phenomenal. We're going to deep dive into the aftermath of Takur Ghar. Lori.
Hi.
It feels like a short time because it was, but how are you feeling?
I know, we're both dressed in the same clothes we had.
Talking about our clothes, what kind of shirt do you have on?
I have a Mako 30 Charlie shirt.
And what is Mako 30 Charlie?
That was John's call sign.
Yes,
the
it
Charlie...
was.
So the whole team was Mako 30, but the Charlie is John. It designates combat control.
Yeah, and they talk about it in the book.
They do.
And that's when Jay Hill was like, I knew who that was.
And that will come into play later on today.
Well, Miss Chappie,
Yeah.
let's get to the bottom of it.
All right, let's go.
So we talked about John's actions on Takur Ghar. And this, I'm going to say it, but it's not going to do it justice. John was a true American hero. And we've talked about this off camera, where people idolize all these celebrities, they idolize all these athletes. And this gentleman is a true role model and was a true role model and someone you should live by and strive up to be.
Yeah, he continues to be a role model for...
Beyond.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Beyond. And I know you talk to anyone in the Air Force, they know who John Chapman is.
I kind of feel like, you can't just go like, if you say I'm from Chicago and somebody goes, oh, do you know Joe Smo?
Right.
So, you can't really assume like, hey, you're in the Air Force. Oh, so you must have heard of John Chapman. But to me, it's like, if you haven't heard about it, then you're under a rock somewhere. Like,
right.
What are you doing?
And they need to watch last episode.
Like, you're in the Air Force and you don't know like your latest Medal of Honor recipient? Are you kidding me?
He was the first one since Vietnam, right?
Since
Kara?
Vietnam.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous because I know there was a lot of heroism from Air Force enlisted guys between then and now, 2018.
But if you watch the last episode, that combat controllers are legit. Before we go any further, I would like to say, please like, subscribe, share. This story needs to get out. The story of John Chapman needs to be global. It really does.
I appreciate that.
No, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart that it's an untold story that a lot of people don't know about that they should know about, because his actions alone have saved lives, and his heroism alone is something to be talked about from ages to come. He is down in American history for a fact. Yeah,
his story is pretty, I think, well known in within the military.
Yeah.
At least on a certain level, but I think you're right. Like, it needs to be more than just military people knowing the story. They need to know the story so that they can also separate the fact from the bullshit fiction.
100%. 100%.
That's being fed to them. Like, and we'll
Yeah.
get into that later on. But
we'll get a deep dive
there's,
into that.
you know, yeah.
Well, I mean, I could tell from experience, or say from experience, I didn't know the story of John Chapman really until my buddy that's a TAC P told me about it. You know, we talked at depths about it after I learned about it, but prior to that, I would have never known. You know,
Right.
it's not anything that's like really broadcast out there to the masses, really.
Yeah. And I even did a dive on like YouTube, Google. There's not too much about it. If you guys haven't read it already, Alone at Dawn is a phenomenal book. And I know I said this in the last episode, but it really is. I can't say it enough. It's probably one of the best books I've ever read. It really is phenomenal. It had me in tears. I mean, it gave me all the emotions that you're looking for in a book. You're not going to be disappointed. I promise. Buy it, check it out, rent it, literally borrow it from a friend. You will not be disappointed. Get on audiobook. Listen to it in the car when you're on your way to work. You will not be disappointed. Lori is also working on another book. What was the title of your
First There?
First There.
Yeah, that's the main title. And then there's this First There, the life and legacy of American hero, Master Sergeant John Chapman.
Lori, we might have to have you back out for another episode when you launch this book off.
Yeah.
Would
yeah,
you be
it
willing?
should be delivered in the next couple of days.
Perfect.
Because I'm self-publishing this one, so
Ooh,
yeah. But it'll still
slay,
be
queen,
at
slay.
some right. It'll still at some point soon be available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all that. So, but I don't think right this minute it is. But yeah,
Put it in your Amazon cart right
it will
now.
be. Yeah.
By the time this episode airs, it'll probably be on Amazon.
Yeah.
Put it in your
yeah.
cart right
we'll
now.
hope, yeah.
If you don't like it, send me an email. I'll pay for it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that
yeah,
quick.
please.
So we're talking about. For me, it's like I don't assume that somebody knows John's story, especially the younger people. So Cheyenne has F.E. Warren has that's the Air Force base that's there in Cheyenne, and they have a program called Adopt an Airman. And I had heard about it several years ago, and I went, hey, this sounds really cool. Like, let's adopt an airman. And so basically, that kind of that base has a lot of like new, like this is their first duty station or whatever.
Right.
So you have kids that may have never been away from home, who may like really need to have like a family, or just even if it's just somebody like, hey, I broke down on the side of the road, can you come get me? Just
Right.
one of those things. So I signed up, and we ended up getting paired up with Ashton Denk. He was a missileer. I think missileer, if I'm saying it. No. He was security forces. He's going to kill me.
Shout out Ashton.
Hey, Ash. So we got assigned to him, and it was like right around Christmas. And so they gave the phone number, and I called him, and expected young people. They're not going to answer the phone because it's a phone number they don't know. He picked it up immediately, and I'm like tripping over I don't know what to say now because I was expecting to leave a
Voicemail.
message, And he's like, well, I'm in Michigan with my family. When I come back, then we can meet up. I'm like, okay. So the first time we meet him is Super Bowl Sunday. So we always have a big Super Bowl party. And so he showed up, and so our neighbor was over the house. Well, there was a whole bunch of people there. So in the house, I have different pictures of John, but mostly I don't know if at the time, I had them in the front entryway, but then I moved him into the office because I thought, we'll have like live family photos that are changing, like my grandkids and my
Right.
son and my daughter and whatever. So anyway, I did have this one photo of John as a young airman, like it was way before he became a controller and everything, but that was over in the corner of the kitchen. And so we're all just doing our thing, and Ash started talking to our neighbor Jared, and he's looking, and he's like, "Is that John Chapman?" And Jared's like, "Yeah." Like, "You don't know?" And he's like, "No, what? Like, why would they have a picture of John Chapman in their kitchen or a dining area?" And he's like, Lori's his sister. And Ash was like, totally talk about fanboy. He was so cute. He was like, "No way." Like, he knew all about John. So he had gone to be a TAC P, and he ended up getting injured to the point where he couldn't do that.
God.
So then he ended up doing the security forces. he was on his way to doing TAC P.
Wow.
But he knew all about John, and he was like, oh my God, this is so, like, he even gave me for Christmas one year, he gave me, it's a porcelain, not porcelain, but clay red beret.
Yeah.
And Kenny finally just made a stand for it. It's beautiful. But yes, it was just a weird, like, here's this young guy. I never would have expected anything, you know,
Right.
he didn't know, but he was like, immediately, he knew just by that one photo, like, holy crap.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it. It's a pretty cool story. Ash is a great guy.
Love it. Well, Carrie and I are definitely fanboys of John Chapman and his actions.
I've been a fangirl, sorry. Yeah, forever, since he was my little plaything. I have a photo of, you know, like, we're only a year and a half apart. And so I have a photo, my mom has a photo of, I had this little stroller.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's this big baby just kind of hanging out, but he was in my little doll stroller, like he was my little plaything for a hot minute. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I had to kind of give a shout out to Ash, because I was very impressed that and then his father was both of his parents were in the Air Force. And when Ash was so excited, like he texted his dad, and his dad was like, no way. Like, so he's like laughing, like, Dad's all jealous now. So it was cute.
Well, what a good family to have. You were very sweet. You're an amazing person.
Yeah, because when we signed up, I'm not going to sit there and go, I'm John Chapman's sister. You know, like, I just said, you know, my husband was in, he was a first sergeant. You know, we never said anything. So he hadn't a clue.
Oh, and Kenny, I've heard that Kenny has gotten some of those guys out of some sticky situations
when he was
when he was Chappie's first sergeant.
Yeah. Those are stories for him to tell.
Okay.
Not me.
Sounds like we're gonna have Kenny on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell him to come store.
He might have to change the names to protect the guilty, but you know.
Hey, the statute of stipulation or
statute of limitations
have passed.
Hey, Mr. Police Officer.
So he's good to go. But yeah, we'd love to have him on if he's willing, and maybe he can have some of that Portillo's beef that he's been talking about.
Yeah, we'll see if he if he deserves any of that.
See how he plays his cards.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway.
Absolutely. So let's dive into the aftermath of Takur Ghar. I know there's a lot of controversy that had happened. Well, not controversy, but some lies and some misleading. So let's get into it. We deep dived into what happened on Takur Ghar, but we never talked about the aftermath of Takur Ghar. And that's probably, in my police career, one of the worst things I had to ever do was notifications.
Right.
And to let their mother or their wife know that their loved one has passed is something that I've never forgot. And I remember every single one that I've done.
Right.
And let's kind of dive into that. How was that for you guys?
The notifications?
Yeah.
Well, so my husband I didn't meet him till after John died. Okay. So I didn't know him, but at the time he was the first sergeant. He was part of the notification team with the commander and what's the military?
Chaplain?
Not priest, chaplain.
Chapman.
Yep. And then I think one other guy was brought just for, you know, kind of backup. Right. So initially, you know, they hadn't up to that point, they really hadn't had like deaths in for their unit. And so the commander was kind of looking at like these are the procedures. This is what we have to do. And Kenny was like, no, you're going to do this or maybe RZ was the one who's whatever. One of them. That's why you have to talk to Kenny. Do it on a personal level.
Yeah.
And so they went, and it was nighttime, and they had I don't know what you call it, a window next to the door. So when they rang the doorbell, Valerie kind of looked out, and she knew, like,
yeah.
You know.
You don't want to see that in your front door. Yeah.
So she called the neighbor and said, hey, come get the girls. And then they went in. I know that at some point RZ broke protocol and was like, can we pray? Can we just pray together? And But Kenny was part of all that, notifying Valerie and telling her what they knew at that point in time, which, I mean, this had just happened, so they're just going on whatever. So then...
I know you talk about like breaking protocol, and you're not supposed to, but at that time, he knew what he was doing. Like,
Sure.
There's a time to step away from protocol and read the room and how that person's absorbing that information.
Right.
Be a human and not a robot.
Exactly. And that's what you need in that moment. You don't need protocol. You need a human, emotion, interaction.
And, RZ is very God-fearing, and Valerie, the two, so it was just an instinct for him, like, can we pray?
Yeah.
And I think even, again, you'd have to ask Kenny, but I think they even stepped back and just let them have their moment. But once Kenny was like nearing 20 years at that point in time, and at that point he hadn't considered retiring, but once John died and he had to he's like, I never want to do this again, and it's not fun anymore.
It's not.
And so, that's when he, said, I'm just going to retire. But so that was her getting notified. Then so I worked, at the time I worked, I would get up at 2:30 in the morning, go to work at UPS down the street for 3 to 7. I'd come home, get my daughter. My mom would come over and watch my daughter. I didn't leave her home alone. And then I would get her ready, put her on the bus to school, and then I'd go work my full-time job from 8:30 to 5 at the state of Connecticut. And so I was always tired. Like, and everybody knew, do not call me after like 9 o'clock.
Right.
At the latest. So my phone rang at like around 10-ish. I don't know exactly. And it was my mom's husband. And he was, I couldn't understand what he was saying at first. And he was just like, and I could hear my mother screaming in the background. And all I could think of was, what are you doing to her? Like, he's never,
right.
There would be no reason for me to think he was doing anything to her, but my brain couldn't come up with anything else.
Right.
So I was like, what are you doing to her? What are you doing? And he said, it's your brother. And I just went, fuck. And I hung up the phone. I had to get Rachel up, and I drove over. It only took like 5 or 10 minutes to get to my mom's house. And I'm just praying all the way there, like punching the ceiling of my car, like, please just let him be injured. Like, please just, we can deal with that. Like, please. And as I was pulling up, I saw the car leaving with the dark car with the dark, the uniforms. And I'm like, it could still be injury. And I walked in the back door, and she just collapsed in my arms and just said, Johnny's gone. And I was just like, what? I didn't grasp it I'm like, what? And she's like, my Johnny's gone. And then I had to call my sister and my brother because she couldn't do it. And I didn't know what to do. Like, holy crap. So I decided to call by this time it's a close pushing 11. And Kevin was in Colorado, so they were 2 hours behind. So I called my sister first. And it was hard. I was just like, I think she knew. Obviously, you get a call at 11 o'clock at night, it's not good. And she's like, it's John, isn't it? Or something like that. And she collapsed on the kitchen floor. And, and I was like, I made sure that David was with her so I could hang up. And then I had to call Kevin. And I was like trying to learn on the fly. Okay, did I make sure David was there? I don't remember. And then so I called Kevin, and I asked him, is Connie with you? And he's like, what's going on? And I just I didn't know how else to say it, but John was killed. Yeah. And I think it was basically the same thing. He collapsed, and Connie was just like, I gotta go. And so then they were trying to. My father lives in the country in Belding, Michigan, and the team that was sent to notify him couldn't find him. And so we're all sitting around and we had been told, don't call your dad. Let him be notified by the Air Force. And even Valerie had called and said, don't call Dad. Just let them take care of it. So we're sitting around and we're waiting, and we're like, wouldn't he call us? Would he call us? Yeah, he should call us once he finds out, to talk to us. And So we didn't know what to do. Like, how do you find out if he knows? So Kevin decided to call Tess's daughter, because he's like, so have you heard anything? And she didn't know. So he told her what had happened, and then she ended up telling Dad and Tess. So Dad knew before the Air Force got there.
Yeah.
And you know, by the time they got there, like, he let them do their spiel and everything, but you know, he was hurt that they couldn't find. I'm like, Dad, you live in the middle of whatever, you know, they couldn't find you. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So that's how he got notified, was basically from his stepdaughter. Yeah. So
That's hard.
it was horrible.
That's hard. And you literally had me in tears over here because I resonate with that as well.
I bet, you know.
Because I think back, like, when my family was notified after my shooting, and that's the last, and I don't want to put myself in his shoes, but that's the last thing you want, is to cause that pain to your family.
Right.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put your family through that pain.
Yep.
And that's a pain you can never unfeel. And that sticks with you forever.
No, and even I would imagine for your wife and your parents and everybody, even you survived, but even that, in that moment, that is like ingrained. You're not going to forget that feeling of,
Never.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get emotional about what happened to me. I get emotional about what happened to them.
Right.
And when you start talking about you going to your mom's house, punching your like that, like, it just hits my heart, because you just want the best.
Yeah.
You know, you want the best situation to happen from such a fucking shitty situation.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, you know, of course, we went down to, they had a memorial service for him down at Pope, and they actually opened up Pope, where the 2-4 is. They opened up, normally nobody gets access to it. They opened it up to Pope. So anybody who wanted to be there, and it was standing room only, like people who didn't know him showed up anyway. And I don't remember much about it because it was very soon after he came back. Yeah. Well, I don't even know if his body had returned yet. They had the ceremony because John was being brought to Pennsylvania. So I think he was either still en route from Afghanistan or Germany or wherever and going to Dover. But so we had that service, and then, well, he must have already gone to, because I think we went right from there to Pennsylvania. It's all a blur, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It was hard. Like, we drove like bats out of hell. I had gone, Tammy and David and the kids came from Vermont and met us. I had gone out and bought like walkie-talkies so that we could communicate in the cars on the way down.
Great idea.
And I don't know how we were doing like freaking 90. We were stupid. We were just so, we wanted to get there. I don't know how we didn't get arrested for speeding or get killed ourselves, but so it was
I don't think any cop in the world would have given you a ticket if you told them what happened. They'd been like, let me just give you an escort.
Yeah. And don't go 90 miles an hour. But yeah, so the funeral was, so John was buried in Valerie's hometown in Windber, Pennsylvania, which is ironically only about 20 miles from Flight 93 that went down in Somerset.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was just like circle, like when the towers went down and I knew John was going to go, like, I don't know. It's just weird that it just came kind of full circle down to where he is now. But so when we arrived, the town had, it's just a tiny town, and they had put flags everywhere that, you know, the motorcade would be going past, and they were just so open and welcoming, and like they accepted him as their own, like our hometown would. It was so there was a retired, I don't know if he was a PJ or a combat controller, but he had done well for himself after he had gotten out, and he called the unit, called Kenny and said, "What do you need?" And he's like, "Well, I kind of need transportation to get these guys down there or up there or over there, whatever, from North Carolina." And so this guy paid for two like luxury buses to ship everybody up to the funeral. And
Shout out to that guy.
yeah, I wish I knew his name. I don't. Kenny would know.
Shout out to that guy. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there was we were, it's like I said, it's a small town. They only had a few hotels, and so the first night, we're sitting around talking with some of the guys, just learning about John, like and the whole other life that we didn't even know about really, and we're laughing and basically we drank the hotel dry, like they had nothing left, and I'm pointing to Kenny. Like, you guys better be vertical tomorrow, for the funeral and whatever. So at some point, and I had never heard of challenge coins, nothing. I didn't know any of that. So at that night, somebody told me about a challenge coin. And they're like, if you have one and you do the challenge, if someone doesn't have their coin on them, then they buy the drinks. If you challenge them and everybody has a coin, then you buy the drinks. If you drop it by accident, you buy the drinks. I'm like, okay. So they just, because I'd never heard of what was a challenge coin.
Right.
Back then, I'm like, I don't know. I never heard of it. So I had to tell that story because now we're going to the funeral part. Well, there's the wake. So we're in the funeral home, and people would stream through and view John, and we were just kind of in a line to greet them. And one of the guys that I was there that night when talking about coin checks was Bruce Dixon, and so he's walking through and he stops in front of me, and I said, "Button check," and he's like, "What?" I said, "Button check." You don't know what that is? And he's like, "Oh. No." I'm like, "You're with the team." I'm like, no, I guess he wasn't there that night because he was like totally confused. Like, what are you talking about? And as we're talking, I'm like, oh, it's coin check. I'm like, oh, so stupid. I didn't know. And so he just thought it was funny. And so he had a special coin that he was going to leave on John's casket, but he gave it to me just because I was an idiot. And I still have it. Like, it's very special to me that,
Love it.
So there was laughter, there were lots of tears, and but so we had the funeral, and John's buried there in Pennsylvania. So if you're driving through in Western PA, look up Windber, Pennsylvania, and that's where he'll be. In right down the road from where Valerie's parents are. They love John.
Yeah.
And the dad was like, he promised my dad that he would take care of John's plot. And it's like 5 walking minutes. It's like right up the street from his house. And so if you had gone to the cemetery and drove around, you would know which one was John's because it would be green and like totally cared for. Now he probably can't walk up there a lot because he's a lot older now.
Yeah.
And I think the people running the cemetery like make sure that he takes care of it. But
that's amazing.
They were a very welcoming town and just very proud to have.
As a father myself, that resonates with me. Like someone who's your child, that speaks.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. It really is.
I mean, I do have to say, and trust me, this is no indictment on Valerie at all. Like, she was thrown into the shit. You have to make decisions like this. You're grieving. You have so many things coming at you. And her immediate response, her thought was, I'm going to take the girls and move back to be where my parents are.
Yeah. So
that's why he was buried there.
Right.
And then she ended up changing her mind, which, whatever, that's how it goes. But
life happens.
He does deserve to be at Arlington. And I've actually had people like angry. Why isn't he at Arlington? And I'm like, that's just not the decision that was made.
Yeah.
So it still hurts my heart because, of a lot of the people, I know that anybody in the military, at least, I don't know, they're running out of room. They just got more room. But at some point in time, they're going to probably have to put restrictions on who can be in Arlington.
Yeah.
But I do understand that, like, Kenny could go there if he wanted to be buried there. And he's like, I'm not a hero. I wouldn't, he's like, I just want to be cremated and you could put me in like a little barrel and throw me over the Niagara Falls, because he grew up in the Buffalo area.
Right.
So, that's what he wants. But like John really earned that right to be there.
Beyond then and some more.
And people would be looking for him, like that Medal of Honor guy. I want to see him, and all the other guys that were buried there that were on that mountain who died that same day. And I don't know if all of them are there, but the people he would have somebody visiting him every day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess just as his sister, it's important to me, but there are people who know. And there's a friend that's, I don't know, only maybe a couple hours away, Christian. He goes with his daughter quite a lot, and he'll send me pictures like, hey, we visited John again. So I do appreciate that there are people there, taking care of it and visiting him. But
I will say, though, like you talking about who he is or was, and I think there's something to be said about a quiet little plot in the quiet little town that he's in. You mentioned a lot about how he was a team player and wasn't out for accolades. I think there's something to be said for that too, though.
Agreed.
That's a really good point. I never even looked at it like that. And, I do wonder, like, if I think it was after him that they actually started making them say, okay, if something happens, where do you want to be buried? Because there had come into a lot of like, divorced parents, and there wasn't a spouse, and I want him here and I want him here. Like, so where do you want to go? But I think that kind of happened afterwards. But I often wonder, that's a really good point. Like, just would he have even said, I want Arlington?
Yeah,
he may not have.
I think some of the things you've said about him, I think he might be happy with that quiet little plot that's taken care of off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Where you can rest.
Well, crap. Now I wish I had talked to you before I finished my other book. Because I do talk about that in the book too. Because,
it is a very valid point as far as like him. If anybody has earned that right to be at Arlington, like
it's John Chapman.
He is one of those.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder what he would actually wanted.
Now that you put it in that perspective, I can guarantee you that Slabinski's going to want to be buried there. Because anyway.
We'll get to him in a minute.
Little turd. Yeah.
I do want to touch on the fact that the words that were spoken about John was very touching to me. And I think that's one of the points in the book where I started sobbing like a baby. And it really talks about John's character, that the amount of lives he's touched, and even the fact of you talking to the team guys, and you guys were sharing stories, you guys were laughing, you guys were crying. And the amount of lives that John's touched is, we'll probably never really know the total magnitude of his character in general and the type of person he was, because he's probably, we already talked about it, about one gentleman, like he's changed lives. Right. And he had such an impact on people that, and I go back to this, but like, everything happens for a reason. It does. And John Chapman's message to the world is just, we probably don't even fully recognize exactly the magnitude of it.
Right.
And there's more to come in the future, but he did touch lives.
He did.
He
did.
No
I mean, it's funny because, with John's best friends who came from Connecticut and, other elsewhere, they were all on the edge of their seats, listening to little stories about John from the controller friends.
Right.
And it didn't really occur to me, like, I'm thinking these guys are big badass guys. They don't care about John's upbringing, but they were like the same way, just listening to stories about all the shit that they did growing up.
Right.
And it was just really kind of cool to see, the two different lives that John lived, but they were both really like on edge, on the seats of their edges of their seats, just like, tell me more. I mean,
what does that tell you about John Chapman?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That these badass American heroes are on the edge of their seats just to listen about his childhood stories.
Yeah.
That speaks about like volumes about who he was as a person.
Right.
Because they've seen crazy shit and they want to know about childhood stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that? It's just like there's
That's
the human.
awesome.
Yeah. So So now what I'm on to the three really good friends from childhood, Brian Toper, David Rabel, and Michael Tose. So they were, I mean, and John had other friends too, like, you know, the bug eating guy, Doug Curry.
At least John cooked his.
Doug was actually in the Air Force too. But so when they came, we're driving to, I think I touched on this. See, I'm getting confused whether I told you last night or this. I touched on this yesterday.
What portion?
About the memorial at the high school.
We talked about it last night. We didn't talk about it today.
Okay. So these guys, the three of them were like on the way to the funeral in Pennsylvania. It was like, I don't know, a 6.5, 7 hour drive. I don't know. They were talking and same thing, laughing, crying, and saying, and they just said, this cannot be the end of it for Chappie. This cannot be it. And so on the way back, they brainstormed on what can we do to honor John. And they ran the gamut, you know, rename a bridge after him, rename Bradley International Airport after him, like all these different things. And they settled on having a monument, a memorial at our high school. And they didn't know anything else, no particulars, nothing, but they said, this is going to happen. And they approached it that way, that like, this is going to happen. And they made it happen in 7 months, like start to finish, getting all the permissions. And so there's a memorial for John at our high school, and it's right next to the soccer fields that they played on. It's like
kids.
overlooks the football field and the track, but it's beautiful.
You say 7 months, though, Lori, but let's like tell everyone listening that it was 7 months, but these gentlemen had full-time jobs.
Yeah, one
and
of them had a
families.
brand new job. Yeah.
Right. And these guys did not stop. They literally worked around the clock. They did their full-time job. They spent time with their family, but then also worked massive amounts of hours just to get this done.
Yep. And, you know, and the other people came to them also and joined it. So there was kind of like a committee. My good friend Celeste LaFay and her husband was he did road stuff, whatever. He was like the project manager. He like planned it, helped plan it, and he was kind of in charge of that. He did a great job. But so there were other friends of John's that joined them. My brother from another mother, Skeet was there through all of it, and just even the coach, the Sullivan, the soccer coach, that kind of always just. You just didn't know whether he liked John or not. He wanted to be part of the committee, and he was actually the one who picked out the stone, the big rock.
Really?
Yeah, it meant something to him that he wanted to do that, and he picked out one that kind of had a flat face on it, so that they could put a plaque and they wouldn't have to grind anything. It was just like the perfect. And apparently, he was like at this, and the place was going to donate the rock. So apparently he's at the place and he's like, I'll take that rock. And they get it loaded up and he's like, no, that one's not going to work. So 2 or 3 times he's like, no, hey, this one's the great one. You know, so he picked out the rock, and David Rabel called. He's like, yeah, I called North Carolina looking for how to get in touch with, you know, these guys at the 2-4. Like, he's like, so several phone calls later, he's like, I'm on the phone with Kenny.
Yeah.
And Kenny was like, holy crap, that's a really great idea that you guys are, you know. So he says, because David wanted just a symbol of the unit symbol so that he could put it on the plaque. And so Kenny's like, yeah, there's no problem. I can do that. So he called David back maybe a couple of days later or whatever. And he's like, how would you like it if some of the guys jumped into the ceremony? And David's like, are you kidding me? Like, you would do that? They're like, yeah, sure. He said, sure. So, and they had to, so Kenny and another guy, Tim Tennant, came up in September of 2002. Yeah, John was born, died in March. So September of 2002. So Kenny and Tim came up to, you know, they had to coordinate with the FAA and the guard base to, you know, have a helicopter or whatever for them to jump out of and all this stuff. So they were doing all the groundwork ahead of time. And that's kind of when Kenny and I were kind of like, sup, you know?
How you doing, Kenny?
And even then it was kind of like he didn't know and I didn't know. It was just kind of like and I guess at that point in time, because my last name was different, he thought I was married. And whatever. So there was a little bit of interest, but nothing came of it at that point in time.
Right.
So then, and I'm talking from March to October was when they had the unveiling and had the of the memorial. But I mean, they started from nothing, and they did all the work. They did the physical labor. They did all of it. The whole group there did the. And Brian Topper's dad, who was like John's second dad, John was always spending time over there as a kid, and Stanley was there doing all the stuff too. And Mom and I would go to the meetings, but we would just let them do their thing. We were just, would offer some input if they asked us, but it was basically we would just wanted to, see them doing their thing. But it was amazing. They did such a great job. They had a fundraiser. Things that happened there. What was his Kenny Lochran? He was like a force all on his own. He would work a full-time job, get out of work, and literally go door to door, trying to get donations for this memorial. And they went to businesses for raffles. We had so many raffles, it took over an hour. Like there were like over 100 raffles. It was like, wow. And there was anything from something small, like Sweet's Jeweler gave, jewelry to 2 plane tickets to, it ran the gamut, like all these just great things. And it was a hot, humid day when they had that.
Of course it was.
Of course, it had to be.
Couldn't be beautiful out. It had to be hot and humid.
Yeah. And so, there's a local, the Savage Brothers band, they played, donated their time to play for it was great. It was just it was a good time. So then in October, when we had the unveiling of it, it was like the governor came and all these other people came and they were speaking, and the guys were supposed to jump in, and it was cloudy and rainy, so they couldn't jump in. Wow. So they're up on a hill, like near the tennis courts, and they're just watching from there. And as soon as the ceremony was over, the sun came out.
Of course. John's
like, no effing way. You're not doing this without me.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because they were up, and we're all like, oh, these guys are the badass guys, like John. And then all of a sudden you look and they're gone. They just disappeared. We're like, oh, these guys are really cool. Like
ninjas.
It was just fun. Yeah. But so it was good, and I had planned a party because these guys were like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And to get this done, like I said, 7 months. And Kenny said, you guys did something in 7 months that the Air Force couldn't do in 7 years. And so
it's true though. So
I had a party at my house to just let them all blow off steam. And oh my gosh, it was so fun. We had Jell-O shots, and it was fun because I mentioned Bruce Dixon earlier. Like he was not a drinker. He's doing the Jell-O shots. It was just fun. Like everybody's letting their hair down.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when, Kenny and I were kind of like, but we still didn't say anything to each other. It was kind of like, and I said something to Skeet later on, and he's like, oh yeah, it was obvious. I'm like, what? No, sir. He's like, oh yeah, it was very obvious. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know, but
Kenny,
so that's kind of, I know. So that's when and then we just started talking like email, like this is, old school stuff. We're doing emails and whatever. And he would go from North Carolina up to for football games up in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So he'd swing through and we'd spend some time together, and we didn't know each other for that long. And then, yeah, there's a whole big story there we could just do. But yeah, we ended up getting married in 2003.
Swept you off your feet, huh?
Yeah. So we've been married for, we joke around, it's been 50 years, hasn't it? Like, holy crap. But it's, it's only been like, what, 23?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
23 beautiful years. So, and
and it's weird because back in the day when I said something about the IMs, and sometimes it was just John and me. I was a single mom. I worked all the jobs, and I was always tired, and I hate going to bars and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, where am I going to meet somebody? And you don't want to date someone from your work. Trust me, I know. So I think, I've heard. Anyway, I would lament to him, like, I'm not a bad person. Like, I don't understand why I just, and he said, don't worry, Lori, I'll find someone for you.
Oh, he did.
That's on the back of our our wedding pamphlet or whatever you call it was that John and God brought us together.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even our pastor said, your story needs to be told over and over again. So there it is.
Out of bad comes good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we have our son, John. You know, it was weird because, you know.
Good name.
Yeah. Good, strong name. But, you know, I had a miscarriage the first time. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
I thought that wasn't going to, it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I was older getting there. And Kenny had not been able to have kids with his first wife. And he was just like, well, I guess I'm never supposed to have kids. And then, like, how the hell did that happen? Because we were trying to move from Northern Virginia to Maryland, and like he would go to work in an hour and 10-hour commute at least, and come home, change, and go look at houses in Maryland. So we were kind of like, when did we have time? Like, I don't even know how this happened. And I ended up pregnant again, and I was afraid to tell him because I was like,
right.
I didn't want, because he had said I guess that's it, I'm done. So then independently, we both decided without talking, like if it's a boy, it's going to be John. And so when the text said, there's this stuff, you know, we were both like, oh my God, you know. So we would have been happy if he was a girl, but
Yeah.
we got our little, he's not so little, he's a big kid, but
I have a feeling who played a little hand
right.
in getting you that baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our little story in a nutshell. But so back to John.
Real quick, before we do that, let's take a quick break here.
Oh, okay.
Here at Beyond the Dispatch, there's only one first aid bag we trust for ourselves, our loved ones, and anyone we roll up on. Wait, did you bring with?
Jumpmatic.
God, I hope you guys heard that because it's a hefty bag. It literally has everything you want, need, and more. It actually even has a kitchen sink installed. It has anything from glucose readers, sterilized bandages, thermometer, ring cutter, Israeli bandages, tourniquets.
Look, here's the thing. This bag, if you're active, hunting, camping, hiking, even for a truck, you roll up on an accident, this thing can treat anything from a bug bite, a poisonous plant, to a bullet wound. It's phenomenal. It was designed by a paramedic for everybody to use. I love this thing. I carry one in my truck. I'm going to add one in my camping bag. It's great. You know, like I said, it carries everything. You got tourniquets. It's one of the only ones on the market that brings full diagnostics to you.
What? You sound like you're talking like you're a professional.
Might have done it at a time or two.
2-3 times?
2 or 3.
That thing looks durable. Like, I mean, what is it made of?
So it's 900D Oxford fabric. So it's thick. It's durable. This is one of their newest ones. It came out earlier this year. It's wonderful. Like, I love this thing.
So you're telling me this could withstand the bomb zone of my wife's car?
100%. 100%.
If you want to protect your loved ones, you want to protect yourself, camping trips, anywhere from camping trips to, I mean, literally on the road, you see a car accident. It's going to withstand anything you put at it, throw at it, and it's going to provide the first aid that you need at the time of your greatest need.
Yeah.
You will not be disappointed. I thought we had a code.
We do. So if you visit their website, jumpmedic.com, you're going to find that they have this bag along with many other options. You could even build your own. And if you use our code BTD10, you'll get 10% discount.
Promise you won't be disappointed. Provide the care and attention that your loved ones need for yourself, along with people you don't know who are in the time of need.
Completely. And don't forget, use the code BTD10. Save some money.
So we talked about the memorial. We talked about his funeral. We talked about sweet Kenny.
Yes.
Sweet sugar lips Kenny.
That first, oh my God. So there's a story that I'll tell you when I'm telling Ken about the Air Force Cross, but yeah.
So you talked about we mentioned the Air Force Cross. Let's get into the Air Force Cross.
Okay. So both John and we talked about Jason Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
They were both put in for the Air Force Cross.
And Jason Cunningham was the PJ.
The PJ that
the rapid response team.
Right. And so I'm emailing Kenny back and forth. What's the news? What is it happening? What's going on? And then we found out that Jason had been awarded his in like September of 2002. And we were like,
weird.
well, why isn't what's going on with John's? Well, it turns out the reason his was taking longer is because whatever the panel is that that decides, at least 2 or 3 of them, they're like generals and whatever they are, had written in their margins Medal of Honor. Like, so there was this discussion, like, should this be a Medal of Honor and not? So even at that point in time, people were saying maybe this should be the Medal of Honor.
And did you guys know that point or no?
I think Kenny had told me that there was some kind of consideration that it could have been that people were saying maybe it's the Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of the things that to me was like ding ding. There's more to the story to me. There was a lot that didn't make sense to me, but that was a big thing. Like if you have these generals and whoever saying Medal of Honor, that there's more to the story.
Yeah, it was that, and then also other things like it was the shipping. It was the ship, but it shipped like equipment, right? They named it after John Chapman.
Yeah, that was until 2005, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that was until later.
But there were other indicators to show like there's more to the story than what's
yeah.
actually being
Oh
told.
yeah, lots. So initially, I never said like what we were told initially. Immediately after, we were told the helicopter was landing. Neil Roberts fell out. They came back, and John got off the helicopter, shot 2 people, and was killed. Like, that's when he died. And we were like, okay. But then things didn't like his body wasn't where Slabinski said it was. Like, how would it have been moved? Why would they have moved a dead body? Like, they wouldn't make any sense. So there were little things that started like making me go, there's something a little fishy here.
Right.
So anyway, it ultimately John was awarded the Air Force Cross in January of 2003. And that's when, Kenny and I were like, we spent like the entire time like together. And and this was at this point in time, Kenny was on terminal leave. He was like retiring. I'm getting out. And so he had been in charge of the ceremony, but he had passed it off to the next person because he was leaving.
Right.
So I was able to spend most of the time with him. So so our friend, the other combat controller I was talking to you about, Kyle.
Yeah.
He's like the clown, the jokester. And so we're hanging out and we're talking to Kyle and he's this big tall guy. And he's like, Kenny, I really don't like what the new first sergeant, the new shirt has, the new policy that he's implemented. And Kenny's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's still like worried about his guys, he's like, why? What did he do?
Right.
And Kyle goes, he kind of looks from, and he goes, well, now before we deploy, we have to give him pictures of our sister. Because he and I were together.
What a dick.
And then he goes, one of those, too soon,
Too sweet, too soon.
And then Kenny, and I think Kenny at first when Kyle said that, Kenny was like, almost like, what? Holy shit, did he just say that? And I started laughing and it was like, oh, thank God. I'm like, it was just funny.
It was funny.
And that's Kyle. Kyle's like, he means nothing, nothing bad, but break the ice. That's Kyle. So
it's a particular type of ball busting in
exactly
that community, first responders, like fire, police, all that stuff. It's all in good fun.
So it's still
harm.
a joke. We still like, oh yeah, leave pictures of your sister. But yeah, so that was good.
That's pretty funny.
And that was, so that was that. He was, awarded the Medal of Honor. I mean, the Air Force Cross. And then you mentioned the ship. So a couple years later, I can't remember if it was 2005 or 2006, it's a privately owned ship leased by the Navy, docked at an Army base, and named after an airman, an Air Force guy. So it's like everything all together, civilian and all these branches. And it's a munitions ship, which is what John used to drop, that's what he dropped on everybody. So it was just really kind of like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
we went to, I think it's Sunny Point in North Carolina or South. I can't remember now. It's so long ago. But we went there and so I don't know if I should say the names. Well, people could just look it up, so I might as well just say it anyway. So General Jumper was there, and he had been, when John was killed. And he knew Kenny, and he knew Kenny's relationship to me, that we were in a relationship.
Yeah.
So and I believe, but he knew at least that Kenny knew me,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he knew we were dating or anything, but or kind of, sort of, whatever. Anyway, I guess it was more than kind of, sort of, because he asked me to marry him. So I guess whatever. Anyway,
Kenny,
you know, you dog.
you dog.
So Kenny went up to the general and said, you know, what do you think about, like, maybe looking into upgrading John's Medal of Air Force Cross to a Medal of Honor? And Jumper said to him, and I think this is the first time I've ever said it out loud, or like on publicly. He said to Kenny, the Chapman family has been very easy to work with. Let's just let it go. Now, did he think that Kenny wasn't going to come back and tell me this?
Yeah.
Like, so there's another, okay, there's more to it than this,
Right.
you know, and do I feel like a schmuck, you know, for believing everything and like, oh, they wouldn't lie to us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yes, we were lied to over and over and over again by the Navy SEALs, but, you know, we kind of got that a little bit from the Air Force too, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, Kenny and I tried several different ways to get the Medal of Honor, get the Air Force Cross, at least look at it, you know, for an upgrade, because I had researched I didn't look at every single Medal of Honor, but John did way less than some of the Medal of Honor recipients and way more than others. So he was definitely in there.
He's
And
in the mix for sure.
But every time we tried, every way we tried, it was immediately like as soon as they opened it, nope. And that was another like indication to me, like they didn't even look at this. It was immediately nope. And so I knew that, there's just too much that didn't make sense.
Right.
And so we just ran into brick walls. And so we kind of just gave up on it. And then in 2014, I think, then Secretary of the Air Force, Deborah James, was reading an article in the Air Force Times, and the author wrote, "What does it take for an airman to get their Medal of Honor?" And she was like, "Huh, what does it take?"
Interesting.
So she, wrote a couple things in the margin and gave it to her team and said, "Figure this out. Are there any awards that should have been Medals of Honor?" And so she asked for a list of names, and they came up with 10 or 12 of them, and John's kind of pretty much quickly rose to the top. And trust me, there are others like Rob Gutierrez, and
deserve it.
There are people who should have also be upgraded. But, John's was the one that really rose to the top, and that's the one that they focused on. Once the Navy got wind that the Air Force wanted to upgrade John, Tim Szymanski, Jeremy Williams, and the whole team, Slabinski and the rest of them, they did everything they could to keep John from getting the Medal of Honor. The man who saved their effing lives. They tried different things. They tried discrediting, he didn't follow orders, he did blah, 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 whatever it was. They tried to make sure John did not get the Medal of Honor. Why? Because of the brand. They didn't want to expose the fact that they left somebody behind.
Yeah.
Because they'd been lying about it the whole time. But there was video evidence.
You can't dispute that.
Well, and at the time, they didn't have... So here's the thing, and Rob will tell you way better than I can, but the short story is immediately after the whole incident happened in 2002, immediately the Navy went, the SEALs, and confiscated the videos. They knew the videos were there. They confiscated them, but what they didn't know is that they had already uploaded those videos. So they were kind of, I don't know if it was like an external hard drive, or I don't know. Like I said, Rob would be able to speak to it better than I can, but and then it was just kind of filed away for all those years. Then when this team was put together to see if John should have been upgraded, one of the guys, Frank Daly, he was like, "Wait a minute, I have these things that are in the file cabinet," and so he brought it out, and there's the video, and they were able to start piecing things together, because I think it was like, I don't know technically, like there was video, but it was like pieces. So they had to kind of piece it back together or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then at that point, that's when they also had the AC-130. Like, so they have the CIA video, and then there's a gap. So the AC-130 was able to fill that gap, so you know exactly what happened with no stoppage. And that's how they were able to prove. And they, with the new video, they were able to assign electronic tags. So they know Slabinski went out first. So there's his tag, and no matter after that, no matter where he goes.
Followed him.
And so the same thing, this is Chapman. We know that that's him. So they were able to prove without a shadow of a doubt that the stories that the SEALs were telling were lies.
Yeah.
Slabinski, so they were so desperate to keep John from getting the Medal of Honor when everything failed. And there was, and Rob will tell you, he was in a meeting, and I think it was Jeremy Williams who kind of like kicked back and looked at Slab and said, "Well, I guess we should put you up for the Medal of Honor then." I mean, this guy did not earn the Medal of Honor, but it was basically so Slabinski's Medal of Honor package had been submitted 3 times, and it was denied 3 times. And then
For his actions on Takur Ghar.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I thought it was over and done with. And I kept going, well, what about John's package? What about John's package? And the next thing I know, I think Dan is actually the one who told me. I can't even remember, but told that both packages went to the White House. I'm like, what do you mean both? And it was, listen, if you want your guy to get the Medal of Honor, we'll stop fighting it, but our guy has to get the Medal of Honor too.
So, like, what stipulations did he win the Medal of Honor on? I mean, his actions, from what I've done my own research on, from when I've watched the video footage, I don't know what his actions were to give him the Medal of Honor. I don't think his actions deserve the Medal of Honor.
So first, before I answer that question, this rankles me. The Medal of Honor is earned, not won.
I apologize.
No,
Earned.
it's good. A lot of people do it. Even military people do it. So, but I'm just, I have to say it because it's earned.
No, 100% earned. You're 100% correct.
Yeah, but I didn't want to. Sorry, I should have said it off camera.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But
thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, now
please
now
put
what
him
did
in his place.
Yeah.
But now what did I do? I just spent myself like, what was I talking about?
No, you're fine. So we were talking about how did he earn, or how did he earn the Medal of Honor? I don't understand.
Didn't.
His actions did not.
If you look at if you take his Slabinski's Medal of Honor citation and then watch the video, they don't go together. Slabinski in his citation, his he is credited with John's actions. If you read the citation, the actions that says on there were John's. In the citation, he says that he called in support, like making like just everything that John did. He's claiming that he did, and that's how he got, and how he was awarded. That's like, just do it. Just read the citation and watch the video. I mean, it's clear as day.
Having, maybe giving the order to John or not even giving John the order, but like when they were tactically regrouping off the mountain.
I like the air quotes.
That he's like, oh, just have the C-130 drop on the mountain and drop like.
Yeah, no, I think
his like, I mean, from what I saw from the video footage, from the drone footage, like he literally just followed John's path. John assaulted the bunker. He was point. He took out those 2 guys. Is it the 2 follow-up shots, that 2 down guys? Is that what it was?
So he's claiming that the 2 shots that he put into dead people.
But even if they weren't dead, like even if they were incapacitated, like that's still, if they were still alive by happen chance, like. That doesn't qualify.
You didn't climb that mountain. I mean, like John didn't stop. You see him get off and he goes.
Yeah, John, if you look at it, John was like possessed.
But you can see Slabinski stopping. He stopped. There was no reason to stop. He didn't shoot. You can see him not shooting. Like, the guy's just a freaking coward as far as I'm concerned. He let John do all the work, and then he came in and went pow pow. Oh, we did it together.
Yeah.
You know, and
That
it's
just
like,
doesn't make
bullshit,
sense to
dude.
me. It
You're
doesn't.
a liar. To me, it's stolen valor. Like it's not true. His citation is a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
And that's just,
in a sense, it's kind of like riding John Chapman's coattails of
oh, sure.
his
Oh,
actions.
absolutely. I can guarantee you after I wish I knew, but I'm pretty positive that when he got on his speaking tours after getting the Medal of Honor and getting paid a lot of money for lying, he probably had a lot of times when people would, what about that John Chapman guy? He probably got sick to death of trying to answer questions about John. So right now they're trying to separate the two stories. Like they were two separate things that happened. And it's just not true. Sorry, dude, you can't separate my brother who saved your freaking life and the rest of the team from your lies. You can't separate them.
Yeah, his actions.
Yeah.
From what I've saw, like I'm not qualified to give anyone the Medal of Honor, but from a person, an outside perspective, and reading the book, watching the video footage of hardcore evidence,
Right.
I don't think he earned the Medal of Honor.
And that's the thing. It blows my mind. It was like it's like absolute truth. This isn't angry sisters talking. This is, you put the citation and you watch the video. They don't go together.
Yeah.
So how is it that, number one, he received it, and number two, that he continues to retain it? You know, like, how is this even possible to discredit? Like, he's crapping all over that award.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was about to say. But like, what does that say to the American public? What does that say to these service members that literally give their lives and put their lives in danger to earn that medal?
Yeah.
And you just give it away willy-nilly. And we talked about airmen that actually deserve the Medal of Honor and they can't get it.
Right. And he's not, unfortunately, and I don't know about any other branches, but he is not the only current, like, living Navy SEAL who received the Medal of Honor who did not earn it. But this all goes back to the whole culture in that we call it the SEAL Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
There's this group that's Szymanski and Jeremy Williams and Britt Slabinski. And I keep saying Britt Kelly Slabinski because he has such a girly name for a girly man. So I'm like, you know, they're the same people through Joe Price, through, like, you know, Slabinski he shouldn't have received the Medal of Honor to begin with, because number one, he was PNG'd at Dev Group.
Mm-hmm.
Dev Group, whatever,
PNG'd
however they say it.
For people that don't know, PNG.
Persona non grata. He was disinvited. Like, you do not come on here. You are not welcome here. That alone should have kept him from getting the Medal of Honor. But what did they do? They welcomed him back so that he could receive the Medal of Honor. But he was also guilty of war crimes, which excludes you from receiving the Medal of Honor.
And this is all documented, right?
Oh, there's even, Slabinski was even talking he's on audio recording, I think with Malcolm McPherson, the author of Robert's Ridge, that came out really, really soon after the whole thing happened. Where he's talking about something that happened after that. He was somewhere else, and how he kept popping bullets into this guy. Like, he could only see like the lower half of him. And he thought it was funny that every time he shot it, the body bounced or something. And he called it therapy. And this is on audio recording. So it's him talking.
Mm-hmm.
When he was questioned about it by, I think, Catherine Herridge, like around the 2018 when his Medal of Honor was going to happen, he was just, you know, well, and he's very soft-spoken and I think very effeminate. I mean, I'm not even trying to be pissy. He's just, you would be like, he was a Navy SEAL, really? Like what did they do to get, you know,
right.
How did they help you along there? But anyway, now I'm being catty, but he changed it, you know, she said, well, you said it was like therapy. And he's like, well, that's not how I remember. He's always like, that's not how I remember it. And, well, you know, he was still an active threat. The guy was freaking dead. And he's popping them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's a war crime.
Yeah.
And yet, and when you upgrade from another, like say the Air Force Cross, or he had the Navy Cross, which I couldn't find anything online. I'm like, when did he get this? Like, they just like, oh, Chapman's getting the Air Force Cross. We better get him the Navy Cross. Like, they couldn't be disproportionate. They couldn't have the team leader have nothing and this enlisted Air Force guy get,
Right.
higher. So
And that kind of brings me back to the question of like, how did he earn the Air Force Cross? Or not the,
The
Air Force,
Navy-
the Naval Cross. Like how
maybe he did earn the Navy Cross. I don't know what the
stipulations
are, but like, he did lead his guys off the mountain. But guess what? If you died, they would be off the mountain anyway. They didn't need you to lead them, basically. Like, I don't get that part. But
And I do want to make clear that we're not shitting on the SEALs. We're really not. There's
this particular group,
There's a few individuals that had made very bad choices and chose the path that they shouldn't have chose. And I really want to stress that to you guys.
Yeah.
We respect all military members who serve their country honorably, but these guys' actions.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole group.
Not
it's
good.
more than a little, unfortunately. But
exactly.
But
it's
there
not
is a
good.
specific group. It's not like, I'm not saying that
No, we
every one
know.
of them is.
Right. And I just
Yeah.
want to let the listeners know we're not trying to trash the whole SEAL community.
No.
That's not what we're doing here. We're literally trying to talk about a situation that happened. It's a wrong that needs to be right.
Correct.
And
Yeah. So when I talk about Navy SEALs, it's
Right.
this group. It's not
Right.
in general. So,
it's actions of a few people
but they're bad.
bad apples.
They're very bad. And unfortunately, it seems like the good guys who are trying to, because they've tarnished this trident. The good guys are trying to like take that back and shine the trident, and the bad guys are still doing their thing.
Yeah.
To this day, 23 years later. Like, we'll get into that, I guess, but it's not just our family though. That's the problem. Like, John was the beginning of it, and then
Right.
from there, there's Commander Joe Price, and there's Logan Melgar, and there are 2 drownings that just happened, and the Navy SEALs and they're under Geary. I guess McGeary or Geary is that commander. Things have happened under him that are just like, how do these? I don't know how they get away with it. It's just because they're so big, and that they fail upward. You screw up, you get a promotion. You kill somebody, you get a promotion. You murder someone, you get a promotion. You rape some people, you get a promotion. And you get a book deal, sure. And let's make a movie while we're at it.
Yeah.
Well, Slabinski can't have a book or a movie because there's nothing to write about or watch. So he has the Medal of Honor Museum.
Right.
Which we can, we'll talk about, but it's awful. There are other families like Joe Price's family who went through things that even worse than our family. John wasn't murdered by his own people.
Yeah.
But that's what happened to Job. And then these 2 young guys that drowned because they were not trained properly and they didn't have the right equipment or training or whatever. And the SEALs told the families, this is what I've been told the families for like days, oh, we know they're out there floating around there. We're going to find them. They already knew they were dead because they went right down to the bottom of the ocean. And yet they're stringing the family along until they can figure out what the frick to say.
Yeah.
Now, how cruel is that?
It's not the right way. And all these guys that join the military, they're doing it for the right reasons, and they're doing a disservice to those who are doing this job for the right reason.
Right. Well, unfortunately, Catherine Herridge was the one. Was she the one? There were 2 female reporters, and I can't remember if she did both. She was doing like this investigation into Navy SEAL corruption several years ago now, and she had current and former Navy SEAls who would talk to her and tell her things like this is what happens, and they're talking about how you that at some point, because of Marcus Luttrell lying, and now he's finally coming out and saying he lied, but coming out and he got a book and he had a movie, and you have Chris Kyle and he got a book and he had a movie, and you have all these Navy SEALs, the lone survivor, or was that Luttrell? Oh, O'Neill, lying, I got a book and I get a movie. And so at some point in time, these younger guys who are like, oh, I want to be a SEAL so I can write a book and make a movie and make millions. So there was this little group of at least at that point in time that these certain guys were like, that's the mentality of I don't really want to be a SEAL and do all that stuff. I just want to, be able to do something so I can get a movie deal, I think there were a very small amount of those guys, but the people who were talking to her were saying, like, this is what they're creating. They're getting people to come in who don't have their heart really in it for the right reason.
Yeah.
And so I hope that that's changed, but it's, I don't know, it's just sad. It's really bad.
Yeah. It's disheartening. It is. It is.
So,
Breaks your
and
heart.
it does. And it's like, I don't understand how a lot of it is so blatant, like so easy to see. And yet they just keep getting away with it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the Medal of Honor Museum,
Well, let's talk about, so you guys had a long uphill battle just to try and get John the Medal of Honor. So let's finish that before we jump into the Medal of Honor Museum.
Yeah.
So finally, I think, was it 2000? You said 2018. So when did you guys find out that John was actually going to be awarded the Medal of Honor?
It was in the probably beginning of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he was actually awarded it in August 22nd of 18.
So you guys went to the White House.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. It was a whole week-long thing. So we got there on a Monday. There were some things that happened that week that were just, for me, way better than the Medal of Honor ceremony itself. So one thing that, I think it was the Monday or the Tuesday. So he was awarded on Wednesday. So it was Tuesday of that week. And we were brought to the Pentagon to meet up with General Goldfein, and so we started in his office, and then we were doing a tour of the Pentagon. So we went around, and then we had to turn back around to go back to his office. When we were going back to his office, it's like 0.7 miles to go.
Yeah.
And everybody was out of their offices, like clapping and crying, and the whole way. There were people who knew about it who didn't even work at the Pentagon, who said, "Let me know when you're doing it because I want to be there." And I'm walking, when I started realizing what they were doing, like I'm crying, I'm like mouthing thank you to people as I'm passing by, like they wanted to be there to just honor John and let us know that they cared.
That's awesome.
And that was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, this is too much. Like, not too much, but
Finally.
Yeah. Like,
Finally.
and that's what meant the most to me was it was confirmation, now public confirmation that John did all this stuff. And I didn't say part of the deal for Slabinski to get his was that John's Medal of Honor citation is in two parts. One is classified, one is not. But the classified one it's out there. Like that's the part that talks about, what he did after he was left behind. So basically they didn't want it. They didn't want people to know that they left someone behind, but freaking that's what happened and everybody knows it. So just own it. Be freaking men and own
classify. Like that's.
Yeah. So that was, So that was one of the things too.
It's cowardly.
That's Szymanski and no, it has to be, one of them's classified, so it can't be made public, but whatever, dude, it's public. Everybody knows you lied.
And I think in the book they talk about John earned 2 Medal of Honors that day. Earned it.
Right.
Probably more, but
yeah, they
lumped them together to increase his chance of getting it, which again,
well,
it's
technically,
bullshit.
Actually, in current day, so back in the day, whatever the day is, you could receive multiple Medals of Honor, but now the rule is even if you can only receive one.
Yeah.
So he probably would have only, I guess technically he could have gotten 2 if the Navy had also put him in for a Medal of Honor. Yeah. So 2 separate services.
As they should have.
Exactly. And, and maybe even Neil Roberts should have received at least something. He did a lot more than they want you to know that he did. And to me, it's like so gross that they don't even want their own guy because that would tarnish their...
They're willing to go to the lengths of
yeah.
cutting out their own person from receiving accolades
yep.
to just kind of come
for
up
the
their-
brand.
yeah,
It's all about that
come up their
nasty
own
little
fuck up.
mafia brand. But
Yeah.
so there was that. Then the Wednesday was the Medal of Honor ceremony, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, except the week one was invited to the John's Medal of Honor ceremony. The man he left behind, the man he's been lying about, and the man who saved his life. He was there in his full little white uniform, and the way he was situated. So the podium, President Trump was the way I was sitting, and so he was right in my line of sight. Like he was right there, and I just it took away from the ceremony for him to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and then we had the reception afterwards. I literally turned a corner and there he was. And, you know, my sister self wanted to just punch him in the throat, but that wasn't the time or the place.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I just turned around and went the other way.
I hope he went to that ceremony. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I hope that's the case why he went. I hope he went because he was there to honor John and what John did. And I hope he wasn't there just for like the publicity, that all of that.
Well, here's the thing. He is a little puppet. He is Szymanski's little puppet because he's just weak. And I don't say that to be catty. It's just how it, like, it was very clear he did not want to be at the ship dedication years prior. It was very clear he was uncomfortable. He did not want to be there. But Szymanski was there. I believe Szymanski was there. The only reason he was there is because he was ordered to go.
Okay.
And I feel like with this, okay, so they invited Valerie to go to his Medal of Honor ceremony, and she went. And to me, again, it's all about optics. Well, look, John Chapman's widow is here,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe that's
I hope
not
that's
it.
not, but
But
there's
then,
probably a good chance that that's
well, I'll
why.
tell you what. Thank God Szymanski, the one who tried to kill John's Medal of Honor, wanted to be at his ceremony. And thank God Valerie said, no, I don't want you there. Thank God that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Of course, at that time, I didn't know who he was or what. I didn't know any of this stuff for most of it. But yeah, so Slabinski was there, and I think he was, again, it was all about the optics. It's all about the brand. So you have to be there too, because he was awarded his medal in May of 2018. And that was another thing. They wanted to make sure that his was awarded first. So optically, you know, the team leader got his first, so he must have done more badass stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And we
It's
know
all
that
about optics.
That's not the fact.
No.
So we talked about finally John was given what he deserved for his actions.
Yeah.
Let's go into the Medal of Honor recipient museum down in it's Austin,
It's in Arlington,
Texas?
Texas, right next to the Cowboy Stadium.
So let's dive into that. So is this a new museum or has this been going on?
No,
so this is a brand new museum.
Yep.
They have honor recipients in the museum. You honor them. Originally, John was slotted to have his own display, correct?
Well, no, but that's what I was told.
Okay.
So I did not know about this museum at all. And then someone got me in touch with someone else within the museum. I can't even remember how we got connected. But I started, he would give out bi-weekly updates on the construction of the museum. And I mean, this was starting from groundbreaking. And I'm the kind of person, like I told you about Eric and how, you know, we kind of met, you know, Facebook, and he's running for office, and I wanted to make sure he knew.
Vote for Eric.
Yeah, well, he's not doing it anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so
Still vote for Eric.
You guys suck. You didn't vote for Eric because he didn't win. But you know, I wanted him to know that, you know, somebody was pulling for him, somebody was watching. So I did the same thing with this guy from the museum. Like, I wanted him to know that he wasn't sending out these emails for nobody's looking at him.
Right.
You know, at least I was. So I would, every once in, I didn't do it for all of them, but, you know, I would just say, oh, wow, it's looking good. You know, I can't believe this is happening and this is great. And he at some point finally said, you know, you could come see the museum. Like, I was like, before it's finished? And he's like, yeah, we do tours all the time. And I'm like, all right then. So I went, they didn't pay the way or anything. This was all on us. I went and I met a friend of who he had been on the support teams at the 2-4 and had retired and then went right back in as a civilian. And he's, Mike he's a beast. He just nonstop go. But so he decided it was going to be the commander and Mike coming, but then the commander couldn't come. So it was just Mike and me. And I'm like, thank God I had someone with me.
Right.
Because talk about gaslighting. They were, afterwards they were like, oh, we didn't say that. I'm like, Mike, didn't they say? Yes, they did. So thank God I had Mike with me.
Another set of ears for sure.
But so in January of, this is 25. So January of 24, February of 24. Yeah. February 24, he and I went and they greeted us with open arms and, we got hard hats with our names on them and, this is what we're doing. And they gave us the whole tour and this is where John's display will be. And this is where this will be. And, it's an amazing museum.
I'm excited to see it.
It's freaking, for me, it's like, I'm not spending any money to step foot in there, but it's beautiful. And one of a kind. But, then they took us into a conference room and they were showing, well, they were going to show this picture and they didn't even have him listed as a combat controller. They was just Air Force, whatever. I'm like, he was a combat controller. That's what should be up. Oh yeah. What a good idea. I'm like, you think? Like, I guess that should have been an indication, but it didn't register with, I was still like all excited. Like, this is going to be great.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And they wanted, we were talking about how I would get with the family. Are there any family relics or what, not relics, but whatever you want to call it, that we could donate or loan to the museum. And then Mike was going to go back to the unit and see what he could come up with to Red Berets, whatever. And they were like, yeah, this is great. The curator, Greg Waters, was like, and I'll go visit your mother in Colorado Springs to talk to her and see if she wants to donate anything. And like all this stuff. So we left there. We were so on
Cloud 9.
Oh yeah. We were just so excited. I got home and I'm like typing away, like, this is great. It's going to be wonderful. There's going to be, while I was in the conference room, I said, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I'm like, I assume the controversy with Slabinski. And they were like, yeah. And I asked them, like, are they going to have exhibits next to each other? Is this chronological? How is this? And they said, no, they're not going to be near each other. So they're basically confirming that John has an exhibit.
Right.
And then, so I'm telling everybody like, oh, this is great. I family, John's best buddies there, Brian and David and Skeet. And like, this is going to happen. And John's going to be in a Medal of Honor museum. And like, holy crap, he would be so like, are you kidding me?
Right.
So and then I kept waiting, like, I kept texting Waters, like, well, can I tell people publicly, like, when in whatever. And he was like, he never contacted my mother ever, like, completely. And at one point in time, I did tell him she's having trouble with her hearing. No, she couldn't talk. She was told not to talk. So I did tell him, if you come, when you come, I'll just make sure one of us is there so that she doesn't over talk. But he never went to see her. Never called her, nothing. Never called the unit and Mike. As a matter of fact, Mike was trying to call him multiple times, and Greg never answered him. And then fast forward to when it's open, Greg is claiming that the unit was really hard to get in touch with. I couldn't get in touch with him. Mike is reaching out to you.
Right.
You liar. And yeah, so, and they're saying, well, we couldn't really get the family together. We couldn't really, it's a sensitive thing. Like, I was there going, we'll give you whatever you want. I have a replica of John's gun. And I said, if they can't find the original, I might be interested in loaning it to you.
Right.
Like, I'm telling them this. And now they're saying, oh, it's very sensitive. And we just bullshit. So, but even I went there. I was excited. I was like so thrilled. I'm telling everyone, I had we had a Zoom meeting with Mike Caldwell. I don't know what his position was there. My brother, or for Kevin was there, my mom, Kenny, and I think that was it. And I mean, he was talking about how we were going to be excited. John's is special because it's the first one since Vietnam, first airman since Vietnam. There's the first with video proof, at least in the GWAT. I heard that there's one other one from the Vietnam era that might have some, but I don't know for sure.
Right.
Like, oh, John's is special, blah, blah, blah. So we're buying into it. This is exciting. So I put it on Facebook. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is great. You know, anybody who can go, you know, this is what it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. And then, so that was February of 24, November of 24. I got a message from someone saying, you were misled when you were there. They're going to diminish John and prop up Slabinski. And I was like, no way. How could they do that? Like, the story is out there. It's like, how would they do that?
All over.
Well, first of all, I forgot to mention the president and CEO, Chris Cassidy, is a Navy SEAL. Britt Kelly Slabinski is on the board. His wife works at the museum. And there are 3 or 4 other Navy SEALs on the board.
Shame on them.
So, and from what I've understand from the, apparently there was somebody from a SEAL, and I don't know which one, from inside the museum didn't like what's going on. Or somebody texted him and said, what the frick is going on there? Because after my post went viral, and he said, it's a shit show here, and we sarcastically call it Slabinski's Museum. So
that tells you a lot.
You wouldn't, it's just gross. But so I was like, there's no way. So I sat on the information. I tried to confirm it with someone else that I knew from the museum. And he didn't confirm anything. So I was like, well, I'm not going to say anything. There's no way they would do this. And then December came, and my mother, unbeknownst to me, decided she was getting upset because they were opening in March and they had still not contacted her. So she wrote an email to their main email address. And then she sent me a copy, or maybe she copied me on it. And I was like, okay, now I'm done. My mom is upset. Now I'm done. So I started sending an email to Greg Waters and Alex Rue or whatever, and Mike Caldwell. Those are the ones I had. And I was like, so this is what I was told. I pray that this is not true, and I listed all the reasons Slabinski should not have gotten the Medal of Honor. And I said, and that aside, there's no way that John should be diminished. And they kind of hemmed and hawed. And then I asked direct questions, and like one at a time, like, so you're not going to have, well, we didn't see that question. And so I said, is John going to have an exhibit, a standalone exhibit? No, he's not. Next question, is Slabinski going to have a standalone exhibit? Yes, he is. And I was like, wow, just wow. That's all I could say was like, holy shit, you got to be kidding me. And so I took a couple days, and I'm like, what do I do? I already posted on Facebook, like, this is going to be great. You guys have to come. And a lot of the friends, some of the older ones, they don't have the money to be wasting on airfare and hotel and stuff for something that's not going to happen. And so I was like, well, I have to say something. I just can't let people just show up expecting one thing and have nothing. So I wrote out this post saying, and of course, in true fashion, I had to add some of my own commentary to it.
A little flair.
Like the weak one, or no, what I call him, the tiny man. And it went viral. Like, people were like, make this public. And it took off. And this was early January of 25.
Yeah.
And it just freaking blew up. And like, people were
rightfully
pissed.
so.
Yeah.
Shame on them for these individuals that are doing this. Have you not put your family through enough pain?
Yeah.
by blocking the Medal of Honor in the first place and trying to cover it up and do all this extra bullshit.
And taking John's actions as your own.
Right.
And making money off of all this, by the way.
You're literally dragging this man's name through the mud, and you're saying his actions weren't special enough to be in the Medal of Honor Museum. That is complete and utter bullshit.
So I guess I'm like a sucker for punishment, but I had to see this disgusting exhibit for myself. So I went, Rob Harrison went, Matt Kubler went. They met me there, and I'm thankful. Kenny was going to go, but he couldn't. He ended up not being able to go. But it was just, I'm glad that they were there, and it was so gross. It was just, you walk in, you go upstairs, you take the elevator upstairs. As soon as the elevator opens, I kid you not, right in front of the elevator is this enormous, like, what are you trying to compensate for? Enormous. It's all flat. And it's like, I would say maybe 6 or so feet wide and at least twice as long. I mean, it's enormous. It's huge for Britt Slabinski. And it has this is really weird, creepy photo of him and his wife. Like, she's like, it almost looks like she's like bowing in front of him. It's like so gross. And he's like showing her the medal. But just the whole thing. And then at the end of it, there's this huge glass enclosure that has his uniform that he was wearing and then his white dress uniform. It's huge. It's like, wow. And then you turn around, and on this wall, and it's a timeline wall of the Medal of Honor itself, on the wall across from it is this photo of John, and that was all it was going to be. But then when this whole thing blew up, they added, like, last minute, because they're not even side by side. There's something that someone else in between them. They added the video, but it's like cut down to like 2 minutes, and the video is like 8 something minutes, and it's muted. So now they're like, well, John Chapman is in the top 25% for word count. Yeah, that's because you have to have words in the video to explain what you're seeing, so you're not listening to it. That's how they got to, John's, as if that makes a difference or it makes it better. John is in the top 25% for word count. Take your word count and shove it right up your ass, as far as I'm concerned, because this is just one more time of screwing over John and hurting the family.
Yeah. Once
more. So you have this guy who left this guy to die and fight, and the guy who saved your life, by the way, and you're doing, like, for what? Like, the Navy SEALs took over. I think this was like it was like the long game for them. They got the Joneses, the Jerry Jones and Charlotte. Oh, there's a lot of there too. There's some corruption in that, like, that you'd have to read the stuff about it. But there's a whole bunch of stuff about revolving around that museum. And now apparently they are looking to upgrade John's exhibit to something. I don't know what. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever they pull out of their butts now is like, the damage is already done, dude.
Yeah.
And me being here and not going away has, at this point in time, really nothing to do with the museum. It's the corruption, the people who are getting killed. That's my focus now, is like, you guys brought me back into it, and now I'm gonna tell the truth. That's it.
And that's what the American public needs to hear, is the truth.
Right.
It is.
But the thing that gets me is, so there are a lot of people who know the truth.
Yeah.
But that museum is going to have millions of people going through it. People from other countries, people who don't know any of the story. And they will see this giant, undeserving display for Britt Slabinski, and they'll be like, oh my God, that guy was such a badass. And they won't even notice John.
Like, where do they draw the line? Where do you draw the line, right? Like, if you're willing to go to that length to cover up something that they fucked up, like, where do they draw the line?
There is no line for them. There is no line. That's the thing. There's murder. There's rape. There's all this kind of stuff that they don't draw the line. And if they get caught, they promote them.
Yeah.
So that, well, we wouldn't promote someone who's bad, and so and they even had, oh my God, they even had he's from Montana representative Ryan Zinke from he called me. He's a Navy SEAL. And he was like, well, and he was such a pompous ass. Like, I think he thought he was going to like buddy, because he started off with, well, I'm driving from so-and-so. I'm bringing a trailer for whatever, dude. Like, he's acting like I give a shit what he's doing, right? And I told him before he called me, like, I'll talk to you, but I won't trust a word you say because you're a Navy SEAL. All I have to hear is Navy SEAL, and I don't trust you. Now, how fair is that to all the really good Navy SEAls?
Right.
Like, that's how I feel about. I don't want to trust. I can't trust any of them.
Yeah.
But so he called me, and he was, trying to be this, and then he's like, well, so I went and visited the museum, and they're doing some things to, upgrade John. And he's like, so I went there, and I saw the exhibits in there, and I went, disgusting? And he's like, what? You think they're disgusting? I said, you don't? You don't think Slabinski's is disgusting? Like, do you think he earned that Medal of Honor? And he's like, well, it's not for me to say, the typical politician bullshit. Mm-hmm. It's not for me to say. And, so he in the text told me he knew my brother. He's like, I worked with your brother. In the phone call, he's trying to make it sound like, so when did he serve? Like, remind me again. And I'm like, oh, that's how we're playing it. Okay. Like, I wasn't nice to him. And it got to the point where, and I was kind of like, and he got to the point where he's like, well, I can see that you're very upset. So I think we should end this call. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. But I'm sure they, hey, do what you can. Like, maybe he thought he would be able
smooth
to
it over,
win me over. And then he'd be like this little Navy SEAL hero. Because from what I understand, he should have been kicked out of the SEALs, the Navy, for fraud. And instead, they allowed him to retire. And guess what? Now he's in Congress. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
So there's all these things. There's all these moving parts. And there's a complete playbook where there's a lot of these events. There are very similar things that happen afterwards, especially if there's a spouse. They kind of call the spouse from the blood family, and then they can kind of control the narrative. If there's like with Melgar, and if there's something like questionable, like Job Price, and they either pay him off, and I'm not saying all of them, but there is a pattern of how they treat. Yep. And it's just, yeah.
Oh my God, Lori.
If you saw the photos of I actually have them on my phone.
Well,
photos of Slabinski's. And then,
we'll put 'em up.
And then John's. And they never, ever, nothing in John's mentions Slabinski. Nothing in Slabinski's mentions John. However, Neil Roberts has a photo. They put a photo of Neil. They name him Neil Roberts. He died, blah, blah, blah. So if you're including Neil Roberts on there, why isn't John's name on there? John was there too, and John died too.
Yeah. And
the only time that it is mentioned is some quote from Slabinski saying, I carry these men in my heart all the days of my life, whatever. And they're named, but they're all first names only.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, like, to somebody who doesn't know the story, there's absolutely nothing in this museum. It's beautiful. There's nothing that connects this guy with the guy that on the wall behind,
who actually gave him that Medal of Honor.
Yep. It's like, what do you walk in there every day and what does that do for you? Does that get you off, like, to see this thing? And then I'm like, turn your ass around and look at the man on the wall who saved your life.
The hardest thing is, I would assume, is that he has to live with this the rest of his life. And it will catch up to him. And I honestly believe karma's the thing.
I think
it will come back around.
I don't know. I mean, and I don't hope that on him. I hope that he finds some kind of peace. I hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even conflicted. I feel like he has, because I've seen videos of him. He and Chris Cassidy, and Chris was the kind of the moderator. Like, he even had to like prompt him. So I talked about his uniform that he allegedly wore. So at this he was speaking. This was just recently in the last several years. I think it was 2022. He spoke at the University of Texas in Austin, into this group of college kids. And he's, talking about what he did on the mountain. And then he's like, and if you go over there and you'll see my pants have bullet holes in them. He received no wounds. So, and holes plural. So how do you get holes in your pants, but you didn't get injured? Like, what the frick, people? And I understand, like, if they're baggy pants, yes, there could be an errant bullet that goes through.
Right.
But you're multiple and, like, there's nothing. He was like, I think the only one, there might have been one other who had no injuries at all. Like, how does that happen? Like, and then you're claiming, oh, look at this, look at my pants with bullet holes in it. Like, everything out of his mouth is lie, lie, lie. I think he's lied so long that he actually believes it now.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
And if you look at all of the things, the speaking engagements that he's done that I've seen, it's just lie. Like I want to find out when he's going to be speaking. I want to be in the audience and be like, I have a question,
Right.
However, so given all that, and as much as I despise the man, I have been trying to work through some kind of forgiveness or something, whatever that looks like for me. And I thought I was there before this whole Medal of Honor stuff, the museum stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I was there. I was living my life. And then you guys sucked me back in, and it was like, so I was asked, like, did the CBS mornings with Tony DeCopel, and I don't think it made the edit, but he had asked me, and I've been asked before, if you could talk to him, to Slabinski, would you? And I immediately, no, I would not want to hear anything. I saw him at the museum the first day. He kind of did one of those, like, smile, like we're friends, and I just looked at him like, F you.
Yeah.
And then the second day, he actually passed by us, and all I could say was, how do you sleep at night? And it was eyes down, head down, and just kept going. So
He lives with it.
if he wanted to talk to me, he had that opportunity in March. He knew I was coming. But I would say, now that I've had time to think about, that question, I think I really would.
What would you say?
Oh, I have a list of questions I would ask him, like pointed questions. Like, I want you to look me in the eye and answer these questions. Like, how you knew that John was up there. You heard the gunfire. Why did you call in airstrikes? Why didn't you say, there's a possible live guy up there? Instead of saying possible KIA, why didn't you say, we possibly have a live guy up there? There are, like, direct questions that I would love to answer them or ask him.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the balls to sit down with me, because he's, again, just from the things that I've learned and the way he has presented himself with the lies and the inability to face that, I don't think he would ever say, yeah, I'll sit down with her. I tried only 2 times in the last 23 years to get somebody who had contact with him to have him sit down with me, and he didn't either time. I don't know if they even talked to him. I just never heard from him, so I can't say that he said no. But so I think I changed my mind on that one. Like, if he wants to sit down and talk, I'll sit down and talk with him. My skin would probably be crawling.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to, like, buckle myself into the chair, but be like one of those strap me down. But
right.
I think I would entertain that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think he has the balls to do it.
No.
He doesn't have the integrity to do it.
Well, that's proven time and time again. I mean, just from his actions, from what happened after Takur Ghar, what happened at Takur Ghar and after, and then beyond, and continued to happen.
Yeah.
I think, we're gonna, if you have anything else.
Well, I was just gonna say, I used to say, and I would still say it, I guess, that I've never been in a firefight. I've never had people shooting at me. I've never been in the military. And to a point, I can't blame them for anything that happened on the mountain.
Yeah.
I wish they had just owned their shit.
Right.
Because that's anything that any family wants, good, bad, or ugly. They want the truth. If John did something to screw up, and I want to know. But that's not what happened in John's case.
Yeah.
They just want to know the truth.
There's human error, and we understand that. You understand that.
Yeah.
what I think what hurts the most is just the fact that it's just blatant lies and the cover up alone, just to cover up what happened. I think that's what would hurt the most.
Right.
That would hurt
And it
me
does.
the most.
And that's what I've said in the past is like, again, I can kind of be okay with what happened on the mountain. Like the shit hit the fan. There was a lot going on.
Chaos.
Like, just own your shit, own the truth.
Be a man.
You guys don't walk on water, so stop acting like you do.
Right.
But the thing that hurts the most, again, like you said, is the concerted, like this isn't an accident. This is 23 years in, and they're still doing it. Like, this is on purpose, with purpose. Like, they're thinking about it. They probably have a freaking committee on how can we get behind that, around this? How can we do this?
Yeah.
Like, just stop. Like, that's what's the most painful thing and the most angering thing is you guys are doing this on purpose. There is no fog of war. We're way past fog of war. This is on purpose.
There's facts out there that you can't dispute it.
Yeah.
Fog of war it's that there's facts. There's hardcore facts.
But video.
footage.
Yeah, video, people.
So I just want to say that to the individuals involved with the Medal of Honor Museum, shame on you. And if you have a shred of decency left in your body, and you might be being swayed this way or that way, do the right fucking thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. There are men and women who've given their lives. John gave his life for this country. Honor him. In a way, you're disrespecting him. You're disrespecting American soldiers that have given their lives for this country, and you're doing it because your buddy or you're getting some type of influence.
Yeah.
Fucking
They
shame
took over.
on
The SEALs
you.
took over that.
If you have a shred of honor left in your body, do the fucking right thing. He earned his spot in the museum, and you're going to give this guy who's riding the coattails of John,
who's still alive, by the way.
Right.
If the roles reversed and John was alive, and John would have been like, "Oh no, you are not going to honor me with an exhibit. You are going to honor this guy who saved my life." But this guy is all about like, "No, yeah, give me." His is as big as Audie Murphy, who is a true freaking hero.
That's a badass.
And Roy Benavidez,
badass.
And his is right there with them. Like, you do not deserve to even
in the same
mop
room.
their floor.
Yeah.
Around their exhibits, and yet here you are.
Yeah, do the right thing, you guys. I mean, if you want to have a shred of decency left in your life, and near the end of your life is short, and it comes faster than you think it does, and you're gonna look back on yourself, and you're gonna regret it. I know you're gonna regret it because John Chapman earned his Medal of Honor, earned it.
Amen.
And we appreciate you guys listening. We really do, Lori. Your story is just. Your story, but John's story is moving.
Thank you.
Moving. And I could give two fucks if you guys like. I could give two fucks if you guys subscribe. But share it for John Chapman. This needs to get out there. It does. And it has to get out there because if not, it's not going to get the recognition it needs, and it's going to get swept under the rug. And that's not what we want.
Yeah.
John earned it.
He did. And it's like I said, it's not all about the museum anymore. Like, they can do you know what? It would have been less insulting if they just left him out completely.
Yeah.
Just doing this let's just give him a little, whatever, And the only reason they probably did it was because of the two, it's recorded and it's the first airman since Vietnam. I know people who are on the board who wanted John to be, and they were let go. It's like, shut up or leave,
Yeah.
and so this is way more than, I know there are Navy SEALs out there who have information about more, what I was talking about, the more than this museum, like have integrity,
Do the right thing.
grow up, grow a set of balls, whatever it is that you need to finally come out with the truth and give people, the families, the closure that they deserve to have.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases, that you have information about, just say it.
Yeah.
It'll free you.
Right. Do the right thing. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Right your wrongs.
Exactly.
Everyone makes mistakes. Right your wrongs.
Yep.
Carrie, you have anything? Well, we appreciate you guys coming in, Lori.
Sorry, I got a little bit at the end there. but
Don't be sorry at all. It needed to be said, and
Yeah.
I hope it gets out there, and I hope things change.
Well, I
for the
appreciate you
better.
having me on here, and you guys are awesome.
Oh, we appreciate you.
Yeah, you're like my brothers now,
Well,
or my
we-
kids. I think you're young enough to be my
I
kid.
was gonna say,
Well,
You were
we'd be
gonna
brothers.
say, really?
No, he was gonna say, not
You-
me. Yeah, say what, Carrie?
You're
What were you
fun.
gonna say?
You're grounded.
Well, we had to get out of here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. I fucking love this episode. Was beautiful. Both of the episodes. We had to go get Lori some Portillo's beef. So you guys take it easy.
Kenny.
Sweet lips. We love you.